Good afternoon, everyone. It is Friday, July 11th, 2025. Let's get into our SPX weekly analysis. Tariff fears causing stocks to slide, and we'll see what the options market is saying for next week. But first, also, if you can give the video a thumbs up, it would be much appreciated. Comment, subscribe to the channel, and come find me on carnivoretrades.com for swing trading alerts, analysis, and live day trading. 11:59 p.m. Sale ends. Again, 60% off. Active trader, 30% off. Swing trades, 40% off all courses. Everybody's loving it and getting a lot of positive feedback on the courses as well. And we're just honestly just killing it this year. So take advantage of that while you can. Anyway, let's get into it though. Markets here, again, sliding on tariff fears. And one of the first things I talked about this morning in the trading room, and I even tweeted about it as well, was that if we look at last night, and even today, like just the fact of where we opened, today was the first day in, well, I mean, we had a little dip the other day, but where was it? Yeah, we had that sell there, but we got kind of euphoric there. But this has been the first time in a while that the market actually cared about tariffs, right? And in a negative way, right? We've had tariff news the whole way up. It doesn't feel like we have because it's just been ignored, but they've been talking about tariffs, this, that, and the other thing. And remember, they were obviously creating massive volatility here, and even here. And then, like, around May, it started to be like, oh, we get an intraday dip, and then it'd be over, and then the dip would get bought, and then But today we actually had, last night we had a 50-point slice in about 30 minutes. And then we opened lower. Like, I've been joking lately. I was joking about how, like, oh, the Asia traders are going to just, steal this dip buy. But this morning we opened down, right? They didn't do that, right? So today was the first day that we've seen where the market actually cared about tariffs. Now, we finished off the lows. Spider's down 35 basis points. Q's down not even 0.25%. So there was still pretty much a dip buy. You can see volatility here. Opened higher, closed lower. It was up 62 cents on the VIX. VVIX here, closing higher. VIX futures, I mean, up a little bit here, and then VIXy here up 21 cents. So nothing there. But, the market, is back to, and as we get into the after hours now, I'm doing this video a little after the close, we're kind of we're close to where we dumped out to last night. So the market's showing that, right? It's not as just shake it off immediately. So possibly a first sign of a little bit of weakness here near the highs. Is it the end of the world? No, I think we were talking about this yesterday in the trading room and said, like, we might see a little bit of weakness today, but we'd probably get back to 625 at some point. And we did. That was essentially the high of the day. I thought the Qs had a chance to get to 556. They didn't quite get there. We had some nice day trades on NQ this morning. But nonetheless, they didn't close it green, right? It's not much, but it's something. And we'll just point that out because that's usually kind of how things start, right? And the only reason I am pointing it out is because it's the first time in a long time that has happened, right? That said, we still have quite a bit of positivity, and going into next week, to look at the options market here, you can see this is for next Friday. It's still configured very positive. Like, dealers will buy any of these dips here on SPX. This is the SPY here. So heck, we can even turn it up to, let's go to a 3% range. They're going to buy, right? They're going to buy these dips. So, 620, 615, 610, even you can see at the bottom there, 605. They're going to buy those. And we're hedged positively up to 630 for next Friday. So unless something really happens to unpin that, I wouldn't imagine us seeing a ton of downside. Now, we do have expiration on Wednesday. That is sort of your first, like, removal of this protection, this layer of protection that the market has. So, that's where the market starts to get vulnerable. So if we continue to get these negative headlines, and, the market here, I don't have the COT data in front of me, but I know it just came out, and it'll be out at 6. This chart here will update at 6 p.m. And look at all those day trading lines on there. But you can see this past week, if I can ever get to it, Yeah, you saw, hedge funds and retail started to chase the rally in ES, and banks started selling into it. In Q, again, it's already crossing over, and that's why then Q finished flat this week. And we talked about the Russell being still good risk reward, and that finished green on the week. It was the only index that finished green on the week. So we'll see if that comes off a little bit more here. My guess is it probably will. Now that said, before we get too deep into it and we start, anointing anything or top calling, just be aware that we have topped out the last 2 years in in July, right before OPEX. Right, there's 7/19/2023. Last year we topped out on the 11th. This is QQQ here. So a lot of people are probably going to front run that. So just and if enough people front run it, it can actually get a little crazier to the upside. If they cannot force actual chart damage, we could actually, melt even higher. And I want to show you something else here. We talked about like a blow off. That's what I talked about yesterday. But this is from Mayhem here. I'm sure I could pull it up on mine, but I'm just lazy right now. But you can see just gamma exposure. This is just across all strikes, I'm assuming. But yeah, 6,500 is starting to gain. It's starting to really gain. It's across all strikes, all expiries. So, if a lot of people try to short here and it doesn't work out, yeah, we could see another big leg. So just be aware of that. Nonetheless, I still favor the idea of kind of playing things a little close to the vest, harvesting gains right now, and just trailing things on the way up. So that's kind of where we're at right now. Yeah, and obviously 6150 support on SPX. I got just a naked chart right here pretty much with that, because that's all that matters right now. Spiders, you can see right there, 610, QQQ's 540. These are just clear levels. Russell, we talked about 225. If you took that trade with me, hopefully you took gains, because I told you yesterday and for weeks that 225 was a target. And there it is, backing off today, down 1.38. Does that mean it's done? No, I think it could still go to 230, but definitely a good reaction there, right? This is not and it closes the lows of the day. So it'd be one thing if it sold off and then closed with a hammer. That would change my outlook, but definitely a little bit of weakness there. Dow here, this is still consolidating. I still like the Dow too. And you can see, you can kind of maybe, it might have looked a little bit better there on the day. It looks a little bit better on the daily, but it kind of has like a little triangle there, right? Kind of sloppy, but it's kind of a tight pattern. I wouldn't put too much behind it, but it could be getting ready to have one more push. I would be really surprised if it doesn't at least make a new nominal all-time high. SMH was down 3 cents today, but notice how this was strong in the morning. And it was reversal of fortunes, right? Healthcare was down big. Well, it came off the lows, but it was down quite a bit. Regional banks down 1%. Our VNQ, this actually closed green, but it was down early. Obviously, IWM was down quite a bit. We mentioned that. XLF, broker dealers were down, but the XHB been strong lately. 200 moving average, you should know that's going to be resistance. But the point is, chips were strong, right? We've seen rotation out of chips lately, but not today. Maybe that's just the tariff news hurting the Russell a little bit more, and because we have so much dispersion still that something else had to be up. Maybe that is the case. But nonetheless, just things to notice. IGV was down big too. So we talked about the outside move yesterday and said, look, you're still above the 20 MA. But we closed below the 20 MA today, and we closed at the lows of the day. So IGV, maybe we look at 106 for the 50 moving average area. So definitely interesting to see that down this week. So possible even like a failed breakout there on the weekly. So again, you see what I'm saying? Like we're getting a little nosebleed here in the near term. Transport's down 107 points. Nothing wrong with that though. That looks good. Talked about XHB. It was pretty much sideways all day. VNQ, I still think this can run. And that goes for IYR, XLRE as well, same thing. XLF down here, but no real problems to me. You know, do you want to say it's a failed breakout? I mean, kinda. I mean, it's not like the worst though. It's really not that bad, at least not yet. KRE, yeah, still flagging. That's fine. KBE is fine. Broker dealers are fine. Oil up $2 here, so nice higher low. Daily chart, you technically have an inside bar right now. It's almost kind of like a triple. We got 3 inside bar candles. So buyers are showing up here on oil. And you can see intraday, they try to take it down. It comes in with higher lows. And wide range on the buy days, tighter range on the sell days. They negated that sell yesterday. So oil maybe showing, it's got a little bit more strength here. XLE certainly did okay. Closed the week above the 200 moving average. And I didn't close above the red bar, but I like how you're still above 86, right? That's been a point of control here for the most part on the weekly. And you got a nice inside bar pattern here starting to form up on the weekly here. So that's showing some strength here too. XOP, again, above the 200. OIH, closed above the, it looks like it closed above that high. 251.32, yeah. So they're closed above the high on the weekly. So again, things that are really heavily shorted are working right now and hated. So there is still a little rotation going on, even with the NASDAQ up today. Nat gas, little bounce off 320. Haven't touched that in a while. Dollar, again, up 27 basis points. You know, it's there, but this is not like... If you're going to have a failed low here, like a divergent low, which it is, I mean, it's got it there. It's right there, right? You see the higher lows. It shouldn't, I mean, I actually got the weekly looks okay. But it shouldn't take long for that to like, I mean, look at this line here. You basically hit it 3 days in a row and you still can't like get through it. And when you have a failed break, and I'll just show you on ES here, because this is like one of my bread and butter plays, but yeah, like this low here, it just, or you know, even like this is probably the worst example. Right here, well, I'll throw my day trading lines on so it's easier to, yeah. So like when you go below like this line here, it should just go right through it. It should just go right the other way. Like if it's a divergent low and it's going to play out, it should just go right through it. It shouldn't take its time. That said, we do have CPI next week, so that could be a catalyst for it. We'll just leave it at that, but the positioning is ready for a squeeze there. Gold continuing up here, still holding a runner in this, and that is paying out like handsomely. Same with our Bitcoin runner, which I did close today. We'll talk about that later. But gold up nicely. GLD can go to 315 next week. SLV already hit a dealer level here at 35 for next week, so I don't know how much higher it's going to go, but I'll just say this, commodities always overshoot. Silver up nicely. Platinum up nicely. I gotta go, let's just go back here. What did I say, 1450? I said that a while back, didn't I? We gotta go to the monthly, don't we? Look at this. Look at this, man. Told you guys. It's a good, accumulate these. Palladium, look at that, 1285. So yeah, next stop there is, geez, look at that. I know I have 1 or 2 people that have this in my trading room. So yeah, probably just say 14 next stop there, if we can get through 13. So awesome stuff here. Look at this, by the way. Look at that rounded bottom. Unbelievable. Beautiful pattern. The reason why I was talking about that for the better part of a year. We'll be talking about that with Jason Burok next week too. We should be doing our mid-year review. But anyway, copper here down a penny. Nothing terrible there. I'm surprised that hasn't retraced yet. Just from shorts. But anyway, we skipped over it, but real quick, interest rates were up today. And yeah, I mean, you got higher lows here on the 2-year. That's going to be a problem for rate cut odds. So if that continues, and that goes higher, oh, what am I looking for? There we go. If that continues and that goes higher, we're not getting cuts. Long end here, really strong, really strong. So yeah, Rates are in a good position. All right, now we got to go back. So Bitcoin, I did sell my runner here, right around the highs of the day. And I'll tell you why. It's because 67 on IBIT is pretty much it for dealers. So I think that will probably cap us next week. Doesn't mean we can't inch up a little bit higher. There is a little bit of level at 68 on IBIT. That kind of coincides with 120, so maybe it touches that just to get it out of the way. But I think next week we close at 67. I will say ETH, though, has a little bit of upside, maybe to 32 or 32.50. That said, I wouldn't advise fading it, but yeah, what a trade. I mean, this was just going to be, and this is why I leave runners on every single trade. I was expecting it to have a inside day yesterday, and it ended up paying us like, what, 7,000 on our runner position. So amazing stuff. But anyway, so we'll see what happens next week. And we're still hedged pretty positively right now, but we are seeing a little bit of wobble here. So keep that in mind. But anyways, guys, I'll wrap it up here. And you guys take care. Have a great weekend. Come find me on carnivoretrades.com. Take advantage of those deals. And I'll see you guys all next week.